we should probably do this so I don't fall asleep, because I'll fall asleep probably. If
You're going to fall asleep? It's midday.
Right when I start falling asleep.
Right.
It's like my sleepy time.
Nap time.
Every time is my nap time.
Hey, watch it! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch it! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey, watch it, yeah!
Welcome to Hey Watching with Dan and Tony. I am Dan.
I am Tony.
And on this show, we watch movies and then we regale you with our...
Regale. Wow.
Yeah, we regale the audience with our criticisms of the movies.
And love. You know, it's a bit of both.
We spent the last 3+ years honing this so that it's really broad.
Is that a real timetable? We've been doing this for 3 years, Dan?
Well, we have 200 episodes and there's 50 weeks in the year, so we're closer to 4 years.
Wow. And, you know, we missed a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So
closer to 7 years.
So for the last 4 years, we've realized that the key to this show is to make it more and more bloated.
just add more stuff, which is that's funny because we're Zack Snydering it. That's what I'll say.
We are Zack Snydering it. So each week one of us picks a movie. This week I think it was Tony that picked the movie.
It was.
Tony,
Yeah.
talk about the movie you picked.
Well, the last episode we were talking about Solar Babies. Great film.
Great film.
Wonderful film. And during this, I was talking, and we were talking about the sport that they play very briefly for one game in that movie. And I was like, boy, the rules should be this. And as I was saying that, I realized I was basically describing the rules of Rollerball, and was like, I guess we should just watch that movie now and see if it holds up to what in my head. And it didn't. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Rollerball. We're doing the remake of Rollerball 2002. Chris Klein.
Hour and 37 minutes. LL Cool J.
LL Cool J, man.
Rebecca remains Stamos.
But I think she's not Stamos anymore.
Rebecca Romanos.
I think.
They start her off wearing a mask, a big mask, because she has a hideous scar.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, she says that.
She says she's like, I'm but so I have a question.
Yes,
just
okay.
off of that, character-wise, she in the arena, she's like this badass biker chick, right?
Big red helmet.
But then she's like, oh, I got a scar from playing my extremely dangerous sport that I voluntarily play.
Yes.
And she's ashamed of it. Shouldn't that be a badge of honor? She's like, yeah, I play rollerball like a freaking badass. It feels like a weird character choice for me to make her embarrassed by the fact that she's a badass.
Well, more importantly, it's a when they really first talk, when she talks, she says all this. Her very initial time when she talks, she says all this, and then at no other point in the movie does it play out.
Oh yeah, it's not like a yeah, no. I think they at some point added that scene just because they were like, why is she in this headdress all the time? Should we make an excuse for it?
And this is where I get to tell my anecdote.
Oh wow!
The two most beautiful people I've ever seen in the world.
In real life,
IRL. Okay. Both of them occurred on the street that I live now.
Wow. Okay. How long have you been on this street? 20 years?
25 years.
Okay. So we have I'm trying to hone in on the specifics, but we have a broad time frame. Okay, continue.
I think this was on our street. I saw her getting out of a car up at the Starbucks on Melrose.
Sure. Because
was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Believe it.
In real life.
Second, next to Shannon.
Oh, yeah, next to my beautiful wife. I'm
glad that you did
the
clasping of the hands. You're so innocent. Yes, wonderful stuff.
Just a stunning human being.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then I saw, what's his name? Owen Wilson, most beautiful man I've ever seen, in front of our coffee place wearing like a tuxedo. He was going somewhere, maybe, I don't know, but he was standing in front of...
I like the difference between those two stories because him wearing a tuxedo in the middle of nothing just is funny to me because it's like, yeah, he's Owen Wilson. What a goofball.
Wearing a tuxedo. She was wearing some incredible something that was...
Sure.
That showed off her figure, but... She's a wow. She's a big wow.
Let's talk a little bit more about Owen Wilson being the most beautiful man you've ever seen, because I don't know if, just in the movies, I don't feel like he's always that attractive.
You don't.
That's interesting.
But when I saw him in person, you were just like,
wow.
I mean, magnetic. There's beautiful, model-y men or whatever, but you just like
but he's
you
got
looked at
something.
him and you were just like that. You have to have that something when they put you up on that gigantic screen for you to be like, oh yeah, I want to just sit here and watch this guy. He got the weird nose and there's a bunch of things going on, but he was.
But it's working for him. Okay,
he was stunning to look at. You were like, wow.
Well, now I'm going to tell my anecdote, Dan, about the time I met Freddie Prinze Jr., also a beautiful man. Okay, and that was just at one of my wrestling shows. He came and we all went out back, and some people smoke out back. He was not smoking. I just want to be very clear. And we just, we talked for a few minutes. He will never remember who I am, but I will always remember that moment. I love him. Freddie, if you're out there, let's BFFs.
There it is. That's never happening. So, so this movie is based on a 70s movie, 1971. Mm-hmm. This movie, I guess we'll talk a little bit about how it got made. They wrote up this script where it's, social issues, talking about, sports and society and violence and corporate control and ratings and all of these things. And then John McTiernan, the director who did Die Hard, a perfect movie, took all that stuff, threw it in the trash, and said, I'm going to make an exciting action violent sports movie with a lot of nudity.
Yeah. Okay. Seems like a weird choice.
Then he made that movie and they showed it to people and all the people were like, what the fuck is this?
What's happening right now? Why is this happening? I don't want to see this anymore.
So then they did lots of reshoots, and then they ended up with this thing, which is, it has to be amongst the thinnest of movies. We've done some pretty thin movies. There is not a lot to chomp your teeth into this movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's a real treat for the senses. Did you see the original?
I seen the original, and I watched the opening scene of the original, and I watched some recaps, and most of the recaps are these, whiny millennials or Gen Xers going like, this movie is not successful in doing what it's not.
Sure.
But I still think it's one of those really quintessential, it's like the corporations have taken over the world, and he, Jonathan, the main guy, is the biggest sports star in the world, and the idea of the sport is it's supposed to teach people that life is futile. And so
it's almost like Purge-like. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
War has been eradicated, and the only place where violence is allowed is the rollerball, which is such a fun idea. Where did that? At least keep that. Like, in this movie, there's no reason for any of it.
Nope,
it's just a sport that they play in a different country. That's it. That's the whole premise of the movie. That's not a movie.
At some point, they sort of teased that they're trying to get sell the North American rights, and that's kind of why they need him, but they don't.
Not only do they not need it, America doesn't give a shit about him.
Nope.
He's nothing. He's almost made the NHL. He hasn't even made it.
No. He would.
Okay.
In the information dump that we get at the beginning, he was the number one pick of the NHL.
But he doesn't play for them anymore.
They wanted him in the minors.
He went to the minors. So that's where you go to, practice. I don't know. Listen, I don't pay a lot of attention to the NHL, even though I'm from Minnesota. But my understanding is like you go to the minors because you're not quite ready. You're going to be ready and you're good, but you're not there yet. So he's not a huge draw.
I can't imagine that the number one pick in the NHL they send to the minors. There would never be a reason for that.
Unless he sucks.
They might do that in baseball, because I know baseball I know spends a lot of time working people up. But I
your
don't think
career is usually longer, I think, in baseball. This could be I might be throwing out stuff
Yeah.
from nothing. But I feel like in a sport like hockey, it's probably a shorter career span, like similar to football, how most of the time you don't last that long because your body's getting beat to shit. Baseball feels like you could probably do it for a while.
Yeah, so in this movie, we set up with this weird downhill race, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yes, we will.
And then he meets LL Cool J, who's playing in the rollerball leagues. He gets him to go and join the rollerball leagues. And then the next time we see him, he's basically the best player on the team, I guess.
Yeah. But also, isn't it still his first game?
I couldn't tell you in a million years.
His first game. I
no,
think that it's both things at the same time, Dan. I think it's his first game, but he's the best one in the league already.
No, because they chant his name when he comes. John Naughton. They chant his name
because of all the publicity, I'm assuming. Because when Chris Klein first goes out, he's like, oh my God. Like, he's shocked by it all.
Oh,
it has to be his first game. It does. I mean, listen, someone can tell me I'm wrong. I think it's his first game in the league. And only, as far as I can tell, he only plays 2 games in the league.
No, they play 3 games.
Because they play a third. They play 3. I thought they only played 2 games in this movie.
They play the Golden Horde twice, and then
that's right, first and third, and then they play a team in the middle.
The guy in the suit of armor. Is that it? Do they really only play 3 games?
So a total of 3 games in this movie. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so terrible.
And it's his retirement game. I don't understand. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll listen. I'm not saying I'm 100% sure that this is his first game, but I'm pretty sure.
No, I think you're right. And it just they make it in there like the amount you're getting paid, and you're like, what? Why is he getting paid?
And then they tell you how much he's getting paid, by the way, and it's not very much money.
No. The big bonus they're going to give him is $100,000. You're just like $100,000. That's nothing.
Not to be rude, but that is not enough money to do what you're doing, sir.
No, I mean, because it's supposed to take place. Wait, does this? No, the original Rollerball takes place in 2018. I don't know if this one's
written in the 70s, and this one takes place in 2005 and was made in 2002.
So it's the same time period. So $100,000 meant nothing.
Well, in 2 years he's going to leave. I don't understand why you would do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like an appreciable amount of money more than like what you make.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and obviously we're later, right? This is 20 years later.
20 years later, but
even then, that's not
$100,000.
A ton of money. Sports people were still making millions of dollars. So yeah, this is not enough money to risk your life.
Yeah. So the whole thing starts with his downhill race where he's racing this other guy, and
it's called street luge, Dan. Let's get it right. Okay.
It's a downhill street luge.
Yeah.
And it's him versus another guy, and
I'm gonna need you to explain this to me.
They start at the top of the hill, and they're going through San Francisco there's people with cameras, and I don't know if there's a wager or
it starts with the people with the cameras are going to pay him $400.
Oh, is it $400? Oh, I didn't.
$400 to take pictures of this race.
Why would they pay him to take pictures of the race?
I don't know. I don't understand anything that's happening. One, who's the other guy?
Don't know.
Because he seems to want to kill Chris Klein. He keeps trying to push him into traffic. Why is he doing that? What is this rivalry that we never see again?
No.
Who's paying $400 to take pictures? But they're also kind of like, they kind of like yell at them too. They like drive next to him in a car and yell things at them. Hey, look over here, dum-dum, ka-cha, ka-cha. I don't understand anything that's happening right now.
I mean, and that's the whole thing is, if you do a little research, there's a bunch of things about how street racers, interact with, it's like if you were a person like that, you'd be like, hey guys, we're on the YouTube channel, and today I'm going to go from the top of this mountain all the way there. Follow along, and then he'd be paying people, and he'd be making money off the channel, or someone would be making money somewhere.
Right? They should. I don't know.
I
don't know what's happening. And now, my second question, I actually have a lot of questions about this first scene. The second would be, as he's still an NHL prospect at this point.
I guess.
Would you jeopardize your entire NHL career to do a street loot? It's incredibly dangerous. They haven't blocked off the streets at all. There's just cars and pedestrians everywhere. Would you put your life in danger like that if you're about to make millions of dollars in the NHL?
Well, he doesn't think he's going to the NHL said you've got to go to the minors, and so he said, I don't want to do that, bro. And I mean, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to make him an adrenaline junkie, right? And so there's no reason for a race. You know, you can make it as dangerous as you want, just him by himself doing a thing like I live on the edge, fuckers. You know that I love this character. This character we will want to watch.
That character's name is Xander Cage from Triple X.
Oh, okay. Is that who he is?
And I'm pretty sure I should have done my research, and I apologize. Sure. I'm pretty sure the first time we see Triple X, he is also street luging.
Oh, okay.
Like I feel good about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's also probably a franchise we'll hit on this at some point. But
I think I've seen this. I don't know. I feel like I've seen maybe.
Were you saying you've seen the second one?
I'm pretty sure I've seen this. That's with Ice Cube or something. I'm almost sure I've seen the second one.
That movie's wild. That movie is wild. Yeah, it's wild.
Okay.
I don't know.
So we have to set him up as something, and we set him up as nothing. We set him up as like, I'm just doing a thing to do a thing.
To do it just for fun? For $400, like this, he's doing everything for such little money. First of all, it's weird to me.
Yes,
this movie came out when I was in high school, right? Sure. I think junior of high school, 2002, right? Not to date myself too much. Whoops. For $400 in high school, that's nothing to me.
It's nothing.
Even then, that's nothing to me. It's so weird, and it doesn't set him up for Rollerball at all. You know what I mean?
He's at least make this like that is not a skill. It's not even. We should be on. We should be on skates.
He should be on skates. This should be an inline downhill skating thing. How is that not the thing you choose?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. That's just such an easy choice. Just he's on wheels already. Just make him rollerblade down the thing. Make it a roller race. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Let's get to the bigger question. Could you shoot this any more uninteresting?
They look like they're going so slow, Dan, which they probably are because safety concerns, right? But when we do the wide shots, they're being held back. There's probably a car following them that's going like 5 miles per hour, and they're just hooked
on the string. We'll paint that out in post.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Good job. They when they do the wide shots, they're so slow. They should at least keep it tight then. Like make it seem like they're going at high speeds, because then the rival guy hits something and flies 200 feet in the air into a restaurant window or something.
Oh, and he dies. He dies.
Has to be dead.
Oh, because after it's over, well, the police are waiting at his apartment. That's kind of why he goes and leaves.
That's a good point. I didn't understand why there were 15 policemen at the street loser's apartment, but because he killed the guy.
That dude died. Yeah, and he killed a guy. He could kill a guy. Well, wow, almost like you could have that as a plot in the movie.
Sure, but instead we never talk about it again. He doesn't even care. No. He doesn't even care that he just killed this guy for $400.
No. Get away from me. Oh, you're dead. Like, okay, I guess. So he gets to the bottom, and then there's LL Cool J he
doesn't get to the bottom, Dan.
Oh, he's going.
He's still going. He's running from the cops. LL Cool J just runs into him. Like he just finds him in the street somehow. And he's like, hey, bro, get in the car. So he has to jump off the street luge into the car. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. How did LL Cool J find him? How did he know?
He was watching it on
Chris
YouTube
Klein
Live.
Doesn't even know that he's in town. He's like, oh, bro, when'd you get back in town? What's happening here, Dan?
In movies, you have supreme coincidences, right? That's a thing that you have in movies. And the good movies, you don't think about how insanely coincidental something happening is until later. But if you're sitting there watching the movie and you're going like, what? How does he? What? You have to. You can't do it like that.
No, or at least make him comment on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But nope.
You know, it just cool. You just give him that line. Oh yeah, I heard you doing this race today, and I wanted to see what was going on.
Great. Yeah,
boom.
That's
Makes
perfect.
sense.
That's all you need. You just give me one line. Otherwise, it's just like, yeah, I was driving home from the grocery store. I saw this guy on the street, and I was like, oh shit, is that my boy John? Oh boy,
I better help him out. So he's like, well, maybe you should come, and then he gets out, and then he starts like wandering back home. He has no one to call. It's
why
like,
didn't LL Cool J just drop him off at his door?
No clue. No clue. Why don't they go out for a drink? I don't know. Maybe you could have the two of them, drive by and see the police, and we could have some conversation.
You slow down the car like you're gonna stop, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's swarming with police," and then you just drive by. Just a movie thing.
Maybe I will. But he changes it. Doesn't he just sort of change his mind and magically he's in?
100%. Because when they say goodbye, LL Cool J says, "I'm here till 9:00 tomorrow morning if you change your mind." And then he sees policemen because he's a murderer, and he changed his mind. What are you gonna do? Okay, another question.
Yeah,
they know where he lives, so they know who he is. He can't leave the country, Dan.
How's he flying out of the country?
In a murder investigation, he can't leave.
He can't leave.
Oh boy! Oh boy! No. I love this movie.
Then you just have one shot of this Learjet parked on the thing, and he's all like, "There's your ride.
There you go. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of this country." Boom. There it is. He can't come back.
Wanted for murder.
He can't come back to America. Wow. It's almost like he has to go and do something like this bullshit. He's just blown up. He's an adrenaline junkie. He's doing this race for
too far.
Street cred. Now he's got to get the fuck out of the country because there's a murder investigation hanging over his head. Wow. Great. It's almost like he'd have a reason to be someplace.
Look at that. You set up the movie. All right, moving on.
That was so hard. And I mean, we make fun of Hollywood writers and all that, but these directors have this at their hand, and they choose not to do it. They're the ones that choose not to do these things. It's not that not that we're super brilliant with super ideas. These are the very easy ideas that I'm sure people hand him on a piece of paper, and he's like, "No, man, I know what I'm doing." No, you don't know what you're doing.
He knows what he's doing, Dan. Let me explain it to you, okay? He did it for $400. All right, everybody's gonna understand. It's $400. What? It's like the lottery. Of course, he's gonna do it. I mean, and you have to kind of set that up. You know what? I take it back. It actually makes perfect sense. You have to set up that he will do something very stupid for very little money. Because then when he goes to Kazakhstan or whatever they go, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it for $100,000, guys. I'm going to murder everybody. So it actually makes perfect sense.
Do you want to talk about the lack of charisma that Christopher Klein spews out into the world?
Let's talk about my boy, Chris.
This poor guy.
This was one of those. I need to go back through his filmography. I shouldn't be talking out of pocket here, but I feel like this was his chance to prove he could do something other than a comedy.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because I mean, he did American Pies.
Yep.
Great. Those are great. He's fine in them. He's not the guy that you fall in love with in those movies. Right? He's not the lead. He's just, a fun character on the side, has a nice storyline. Whatever. He can do that. And I think this must have been one of his first real leading man roles.
I would think so, yeah.
And then, it turns out he can't. Some people can, some people can't. And he's fine in that side role. And the reason why I bring that up is because he's in one of my favorite movies, Just Friends, which I think is a criminally underrated comedy movie. First of all, Christmas movie, all the above. And he is wonderful in that movie. Okay. He can play the goofy asshole so well.
Sure.
We should just cast him more in that,
They probably did.
Cast him, guys. At least he's working.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, at least.
I'm sure. I'm sure all those American Pie movies bought him a house and cars. And,
totally.
got him where he is, where he has a nice life.
I hope so. Listen, if you're out there, Chris, I hope you're doing well. I really do, because woof, he's not good in this movie.
He's not good.
I want to be very clear. He is not charming.
Nope.
Or likable, which
Not
is
really.
a problem. Because there's a scene, the scene where they talk about the scar, where him and Rebecca are talking about the scar. He doesn't come off empathetic or likable at all. He's like, why? It's fine. You look fine. Stop being a little bitch about it. It's basically the scene. And I was so taken aback. Like, this is the scene where he should show the softer side and like, oh yeah, I'm a tough hard ass, but also, I'm a lovable, nice guy, and that's why we're in a relationship. Like, he needs to be a likable character, and he's not.
So you're saying he brings the hard ass to the relationship, but not to the part of the rollerball where he's supposed to be.
Rollerball rink. Yeah, he mixed them up. It's tough. It happens to all of us,
So we're at the first rollerball. It's game night. There's supercars. There's fancy titles. It's the Horde versus the Reds or something. They call, everyone in the stand. It's all miners, all these miners, and they're like, Jonathan. He comes in. He does like a big flip, which I don't think you should ever be doing these kind of maneuvers on skates. I can't imagine you should be doing this shit on skates.
Well, you shouldn't, but that's why he's so cool.
Oh, okay.
He's cool, man. So, real quick, the best actor in this movie is the announcer.
Oh, no,
right?
He's the worst. He's so horrible.
He's so funny.
No, he's not funny.
So
No, Tony, he's
him.
horrible.
I think he's great. He's got my favorite line of the whole movie, which is somewhere in this scene where we're about to play the first game, and he's talking about the rules of the sport. And I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Eventually he says, the rest of the rules are all in Russian and too confusing, so we're not going to talk about them. And I was like, that's funny, because this sport doesn't make any sense. And they do spend a chunk of time exposition-wise trying to explain the sport to me. Where you roll around twice, there's a bridge, there's jumps, there's a ball. There's 3D diagrams at some point that are trying to explain the sport to me. I was like, guys, I don't think I care. I'm just gonna tell you. Let me watch it.
I gotta tell you something about sports movies, Tony.
Okay. Tell me something about sports movies.
You may have never noticed this in sports movies.
Okay.
But the audience has to understand what the score is.
I mean, in some way, it would be nice if they showed a score at all. Is there even a scoreboard in this?
I don't know. I never saw one. And they never show the scoreboard, so you never know who's winning, who's losing, what the stakes are of winning and losing are. Nothing. And I'm sorry, but the excitement of a sports movie, even in a terrible movie like Space Jam, they show us.
I'm sorry. You mean Space Jam 2? Space Jam 1 is a perfect film.
Space Jam 2, you see that, and you know Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, or LeBron and the Looney Tunes have to score X amount of
talking
points
about the second one
in
here.
a certain amount of time. And so you're like, come on, LeBron and the Looney Tunes. Come on, Lola Bunny. We just want to look at you. I mean, yes, go, Tweety Bird. Go, Tweety Bird.
Tweety Bird.
But they never show us the score. The one thing we do see is the global ratings, which when this global ratings is just this magic number 14.2, 14.4. So is it either gets more exciting or less exciting? They have to then zhuzh that up by causing violence to make it go through the roof.
Here's a couple of questions on ratings. Yeah. Are they instantaneous? Because Nielsen ratings come out way later.
No, of course they're not. This is
it's 2005, so it's the future. So I guess maybe that's part of it. My other question, Dan, is how does that even work?
Because it's on a screen and the number goes up or it goes down. That's how it works.
Right.
Problem solved.
Let's say they start at 8.1 rating, whatever the hell that means, right?
Yes.
And then somebody gets hurt and the ratings go to 12. How does that happen? How are people in real time here are people just on the phone be like, bro, you got to check this out. Turn to channel 24 right now because someone just got hurt. That's not realistic. It's not like I don't think we have Twitter at this point, right? We don't have social media.
Do we have social media?
How are these people tuning in when something exciting happens that fast?
You pick up your rotary phone. No, I mean, and it's 3 years in the future, so I'm sure they had all that stuff.
You never know what's going to happen in 3 years. Big things.
Yeah, it is kind of absurd to think that you could do something and then know that your audience is increasing to that level.
Even today, that doesn't make any sense. Like, all of your views come in VOD, video on demand, afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, they go viral on social media. An injury in football, everyone sees it late. Like, it's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
And you get you should get the ratings afterwards, right?
100%. Yeah.
So you kind of want to have this one where you're like, oh my God, that terrible thing happened. So what that means is we gotta now start to the first one, it has to be an accident. Then the second 100%. One, it's not an accident.
Yeah.
And the third one, you're like, they're gonna try and have somebody killed. Yeah. And so in this one, let's see.
Well, while you're looking at that, let's talk about Chris Klein's helmet for a minute, Dan. He never, not a single time, straps his helmet closed. His straps are always just dangling.
That's not safe.
This sport is incredibly dangerous, and he's doing flips and stuff. How does his helmet stay on all the time?
He doesn't even wear special body armor.
He doesn't even wear the special body armor. That's
too dangerous.
It's ludicrous. It doesn't make him cooler than everybody else. It just bothers me when he's skating around and his flaps are doing this little. It drives me crazy.
So we have a nice musical interlude, which I'm sure is one of Tony's favorite parts. What is the song that they do?
I don't know.
Here comes the boom, ready or not.
They played that song in this movie?
Yeah.
I don't even remember it. Maybe I was looking at his chin strap the whole time.
Yeah,
because I do like that song.
So this one guy, I wrote down that his name was Modoc. I don't know if his name was Modoc.
That sounds like something that could happen in this movie.
Kind of the dumb guy. He gets his helmet knocked off, and then he gets the ball to the face.
And this is why I was bringing this up.
And the ratings shoot up.
Dan, two questions.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Again, Chris Klein never straps his helmet.
Yes.
So, like, the fact that they find his helmet has been cut, the guy that just got beat up, why does that matter? That's stupid.
Well, because they knocked off his helmet. Because they cut that.
First, his helmet doesn't even do anything. He doesn't have a cage. They could just smash the front of his face. Why do they need to take the helmet off at all? Just run the ball into the guy's nose and break his face.
That's so they have a clue. That's like a clue. You have to have a clue to
somebody
push
sliced it so they could take it off and hit him in a different part of his exposed head.
What? So Jonathan sees this and he goes crazy and brings the vengeance to some more rock and roll music. Oh no! So that's the best part. This is the best part of the movie. So we get the vengeance and they get the. He's like he cues the rock band that's there. He cues them and they're like and they're like and I'm just like, here we go. This is what this movie. This is how this movie's going to get us going. It's going to have the greatest sports scenes ever. And they go and they win. And you're just. I was pumped. I was completely pumped. And I'm like,
wow.
Here we go. And then every other scene in the ring is worse than this one. They're dreadful. They're
100%.
The last one is literally the most dreadful of them all.
Yeah. So what I'm confused about is him signaling the band.
Yeah, he signals the band.
Why is this the only time that he signals the band? Shouldn't he signal the band again at a different time?
Because this is the only time it matters.
Any time throughout the movie, like when they're about to go on a run, he should be manipulating the game a little bit. He should be so good at the game that he's like, okay, now I'm going to turn it on and take over the game. This is my MJ moment. Cue the music, brothers. And then he goes and does some magic stuff, you know? That should be like a thing if it's going to be a thing.
What did Kobe used to do? Kobe would be out there, he'd like, give me the ball. And
right, exactly.
Like, be like, they're giving the ball to Kobe. And everyone's like, oh, they're giving the ball to Kobe.
Yeah, because
giving the ball to Kobe.
It's takeover time. That is a thing in sports. Like, you let your best player take over in the fourth quarter. That's what you do, right?
Yep, that's what you do.
Put that in there. You kind of did it just now, but like, make that a thing. Make that part of his character then.
Because this movie doesn't understand about sports.
Well, or character, or anything. Just anything in general.
So they win.
My favorite part, hold on. Sure. I just want to say, one of my other favorite parts of this movie is when he takes a drink. Sometime at the half, they take like a timeout. He takes a drink and he puts it down, and they're like, hey, you have to drink again. And he's very confused about it. Yeah. And LA Cool's just like, label out, man. I loved that.
It's real.
That needs to be more in the movie. It needs to be, all the product placement. It's all about making your money that way. Like, these are the things that this should be about. And it might have been about it at some point. I don't know. Maybe more changes happen. But there's kernels of a movie that I would like to see in here.
Yep. Nope.
Nope.
They have a press conference. They do the locker room. Then they all go out to the supercars and
Let's talk about the locker room real quickly.
The club.
I'm going to give a shout out to the locker room scene.
There's nudity?
Yes, but not sexualized.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's cool. They lose it later when they make Rebecca work out topless, because that's insane. But this scene, I appreciate the fact that it's like a co-ed locker room, and it's just like, it's a thing. We're all cool with it. We're comfortable with it. That's a cool moment. Again, they ruin it later, but that's a cool little moment.
Yeah, because there's naked guys and girls, and they don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares. We're a team, and we're doing it. I think that's cool. I will say that in the theatrical release, they CGI'd black tank tops over the topless women because it was a PG-13 release.
Oh, okay.
And then they went back and made the R-rated cut later.
Whew. So they go to the club. There's a bunch of gangstery / bodyguards that sort of watch them.
I don't know.
And that's sort of just a setup that they're always sort of being watched, and there's always guys that are going to do stuff.
For why? For what? There's no reason, really.
They toast the guy that got messed up, and then we find out that his chin strap was cut. And so Jonathan's going to go see the boss, Petrovich, and there's all these bigwig investors, and then he tells the boss, this we can't be doing this. This is not cool, bro.
Right. Why does he care?
Why does Jonathan care? Because it's his team. He's a team
but he
player.
Doesn't say that. You know what I mean? I would like to hear some reasons why this upsets you a little bit, because right now I don't really get it.
I mean, it's almost like a place where you could put in a personal anecdote about what he's dealt with in the world.
I love that. Yeah.
Perfect. I didn't go to the NHL bosses. They would always do these things. And they didn't care about us. Blah, 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 this, that, this.
Yeah, but no, that's cool.
And then Jean Reno, who plays Petrovich, he gets to say this line, "The angriest man in the game. He just doesn't know it yet."
And you know who else doesn't know it, Dan?
What?
The audience.
Well,
and they will never learn it because he's never angry.
Nope, never happens.
The third act in that third game, when he goes back out there at the end, he should be angry. He's not.
No.
He's not angry. He's almost defeated. He basically goes out there and says, I'm going to have to take the beating of a lifetime because that's what they want. He's not mad. He's not. He doesn't say, I'm going to fuck some shit up right now because I'm the maddest man in the world. Like, I don't understand this line.
You mean there's a line in the movie that isn't paid off at any time, shape,
at
or way?
Any point in time. Great stuff.
Jonathan drives home. He talks to his handlers about gambling. Then he sneaks back to the training facility where Rebecca remains Stamos is working out.
Topless.
And
we have to mention this because it's the weirdest scene in the movie. Why would you ever, in a million years, work out topless?
Because it's hot.
What an unnecessary danger that is.
I was talking to Shannon, and we were watching the Olympic soccer, and one of the guys like took off his shirt because he scored a thing, and he's wearing like a sports bra, and I'm like, why is a dude wearing a sports bra? And she's like, chafing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of his nipples.
Yep.
He's out there sweating and doing everything that his nipples will
rubs on your shirt.
His nipples will get destroyed. He has to wear a whole separate piece of clothing to protect his male nipples, which
you just want to hold it in.
Which someone like me, I don't have that problem.
Dan, I do have that problem. I have two problems, to be honest with you. One is that just when I go, like we went to Huntington Beach last week and we did a hike and we did 22,000 steps a day, which is not something I normally do. Basically rubbed raw. Because when I walk, my boobies, they bounce, bro. And my shirt doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's rubbing constantly. The other problem I have, which is too much information for everybody, is in a car, the seatbelt cuts my nipple because my boob, like, it folds over it. And so my nipple is just constantly being rubbed by the seatbelt. So I got to work on that. I got to figure that one out. So I'm just saying I wouldn't do this stuff. I would love to have a little security.
I'm going to tell you something else, Tony. Something that you're going to learn in old age.
Okay, that's now.
The fat in your butt goes away.
Well, that's actually probably good.
No, it's not good.
Oh, it's bad.
So that means if you're like sitting on like a wood bench for an extended period of time,
it's just bone.
Your bone is there, and like with me, it can like work up in me, and like my legs can like die, literally like die if I sit too long on something that's hard and wood. So you have that to look forward to.
Well, damn, maybe don't sit on hard things. Get it?
No,
it's dirty.
Why would I? What does that mean? I don't like sitting on wood.
It was just a dirty joke. It was a dirty joke.
I'm a dirty joke machine.
I'm just a joke machine.
You can't make fart jokes, but I can make hardwood jokes.
Yeah, listen, they're funny.
Jonathan earlier had told everybody that. Hold on a second. Wait a second.
Back to train up. What's going on?
If that was their first game, how's he already in a relationship with her? And he tells people that she's a lesbian. The new guy comes in and he's like, "Oh no, she's a lesbian. You can't get with her."
You're absolutely right, Dan. It can't be their first game, but it feels like their first game. Why is the announcer telling us the rules? Why would he do that mid-season?
Maybe this is his second season with the team.
I don't know, man. It's not clear, and I don't like it. All right, but you're absolutely right. No, you're right, because it sounds like they have history. You're right.
Well, no, they've had sex before, because she's like, "Can we just once have sex in a bed?" And she's like,
bed. Yep.
"No, we must do it here because we cannot do this." I don't. You're just like, I don't understand.
I don't understand anything.
Oh my God, because she's embarrassed by her scar, which we talk about, and
it's just dumb.
Then they talks with her about how they cut the cord on the strap on the helmet, and then she's all like, "Didn't you see every camera was on him?" And he's all like, "Oh my God, they filmed that intentionally."
Well, she shows him all of the camera angles
because she has access to all the footage.
She has access, but how? I understand she has a connection. She has this guy, but I mean, literally. Is that who it is?
Oh, Sergey is the guy on the inside. Oh,
guy on the inside. But what is he sending her? That's what I don't understand. She has some sort of multi-view with 5 different feeds going at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what she's looking at.
Sergey gave that to her.
I just don't understand what he gave her.
So they're like, okay, she's like, well, let's go see Sergey for what reason I don't know, since he's already given
all
her
the evidence.
So they're going to go there. They drive there, and then the miners are revolting, and so they have to get out of the car, and then the miners destroy the most expensive, beautiful car, and it's very sad.
What? It's the most emotion Chris Klein shows in the whole movie.
My
car! Why are they revolting?
Oh, because this is part of the whole rich versus poor, and the idea of this movie is supposed to be that
I understand what it's
he's
supposed
the
to be.
hero to the miners, and then when he finally gets them to rise up, then the corporate bosses are in trouble.
But it doesn't make sense in this movie. I assume it makes a lot of sense in the original, which I haven't seen.
Yeah,
this one doesn't make any sense. But
because we don't know if this is his first game, his 1,000th game. We don't know any of these things. We do not know the power of his influence because we don't know what's happening.
I have no idea what's happening. I don't know. I got nothing.
So they go to try to find Sergei. There's a weird guy there, which I think Chris Klein kills that guy too.
Yeah, just straight up murders him. Yep.
Murders another guy. And then she's all like, we got to get out of here. He might be police. And then they go to the airport because everyone's leaving. They're putting all the other supercars onto a plane, and then they're also getting on a plane, and they're almost too late.
Yeah, big drama.
And then he explains to LL that they're screwing with the game. They get to the new country. Out come the cars, and they explain cars are part of the show. Oh, that was the other thing. He said that was his car that got destroyed. Then somebody's like, that's not your car.
Rebecca's like, no, it's owned by the team owner guy.
So he doesn't know if he owns his own car.
If he doesn't know, I sure as shit don't know.
If it's his first day, if this is his first game, then it makes sense. Maybe he doesn't know.
Sure.
But if it's not his first game, then it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make
a lot of sense. And we should see more of him getting preferential treatment because that's part of it. There's a moment at some point in the movie where him and one of the other team members are like talking, and Chris Klein says something to the effect of what we're getting paid. It's just what we do. And the guy says, you're getting paid 10 times as much as I am.
Yeah.
Why is that not more a part of this movie where there should be a discrepancy on the team where Chris Klein's character has to like realize, oh shit, I'm being treated differently than the rest of these people. We should all be treated equal. Let's rise up. Right? That's a track that I could follow.
Yes, it is.
We don't do that.
No, we don't. In the original Rollerball, Jonathan had a wife, but one of the bigwigs at the corporation wanted his wife, and so he had to give up his wife.
What?
Yeah.
That's intense. Yep. Wow. I'm going to have to watch this movie. I almost did, and then I did something else, which we'll talk about later. But and
you're right. He lives in this elevated status, but he doesn't live in the elevated.
He's somewhere in the middle. Yeah,
he's in the upper, but he's there's always that other level.
Yeah,
and it was interesting. One of these people I watched that was talking about was all like, "Why don't they ever show him dealing with the super poor and blah 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 blah?" And it's like, it's all implied. Right? We know that he's existing at this level. We, just like in this movie, we understand that the miners are the bottom, and then, the normal players are here, and then he's up here. We know that, but
we don't talk about it. We don't do anything about it.
You don't have to talk about it. You just have to say how that's going to affect things at a certain point.
Right. It has to have an impact as opposed to just being like, oh, by the way, this is the hierarchy. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Doesn't mean anything. You've set up a hierarchy. You have to use it for something.
In fact, we do the opposite in this movie when we're escaping and the team puts together a bunch of money. We'll talk about that later, but it's this movie, man. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
So they screw with the game, new country, cars, and then they go to the new arena, and then we get White Zombie or Rob Zombie playing a song, which ends with this fractional video appearance of Pink going like this.
That was Pink?
That was Pink.
Like the pop star?
Yeah. It was like a little 3-second video clip of her. You're just like, oh,
MTV.
Now we're going to get a Pink song. And you're like, nope, no Pink song.
Nope, we're not.
I don't understand.
So weird. I wonder how much they had to pay for that just to have the cloud of being like, well, Pink's in our movie.
And then at this next game, it's the same thing again. Petrovich yells at a guy, pulls a gun. They sabotage the glass in this game, and then the crowd eats the newest guy rabbit alive.
Yeah, which is confusing to me. Yeah. So, first of all, people are dead, right? Because that guy went through the glass and landed on a bunch of people.
And they ate him. Yeah, they were.
And so I don't get that.
What don't you get?
Why did they mob him and basically attack him?
Because he is from the other team. He's from the.
Because we're at an away game.
Yeah, visiting team.
Okay.
And he was the new guy on. They set up that he was the new guy in the last sort of setup. So you can have the crowd eat
He's
him.
cannon fodder.
Yes, he's cannon fodder.
It's a weird moment that they're just tearing him to pieces because it makes more sense to me in the original storyline where this is the only release of that sort of feeling we have. Yeah. That's not set up in this movie at all. Nope. This is just a sport that happens.
Yep.
Straight up, end of story. Worldwide, it's just a sport. So them attacking him is very weird to me.
And the stadiums aren't that large.
Right, also that. Yeah.
Not very large.
Small. We're not making that much money. That's why he's only getting 100,000. We don't have a lot of money.
So you're wrong, Tony. We do have 4 games because we're about to go.
We have 4 games? Are you sure?
Because now we go to Mongolia. Because at the Mongolia game we have Slipknot playing.
That's true. I have a guitar that Slipknot signed.
Do you?
Yeah, right back there. Slipknot signed it. You want me to grab it? I can grab it.
No, I really don't care.
Okay, that's fine. But I have a signed Slipknot guitar. So.
Why do you have that?
They performed. We used to do a thing called Yahoo Music, and they were one of the bands that performed. So they signed all of their instruments and gave them to the crew.
Oh, so they gave you Slipknot guy handed you his actual guitar. So it's a real guitar.
Yeah, it's a real guitar.
Oh, it's not like a toy guitar.
No, it's not a toy guitar. It's like a real guitar that they used for one performance on Yahoo Music. Yeah.
That you must get paid a lot of money. Do they get paid $100,000?
I think they probably get paid $400. Yeah. Okay. A lot of people do a lot of stuff for $400.
It's $400. Did you guys lose money? Yeah, we lose money because we gave away our instruments. Why did we do that?
All the instruments. I don't know. The people love it. Okay.
Now was it the guy with the hair that gave you the guitar?
No, I honestly don't remember it that well, which is unfortunate, but I'm not, no offense. I'm not a huge Slipknot fan. But I was like, yeah, cool. I'll take it. Oh, that's fine. I'm also getting paid for the day, but that's fine. Give me a guitar.
Sure, whatever.
It's just a job, guy. I'm not a fan. I'm just here to
This guy
work.
Thought he was making your life by giving you this guitar. He was like, yeah.
Joke's on you, you idiot. I'm just here for a paycheck.
I'd probably give it to my nephew. He's 7.
If he knew who Slipknot was, maybe I would. He'd probably think it was cool as shit.
Is it in a case?
Nope, I care very little. It's literally like thrown in the back corner just with a bunch of gear.
It's probably worth some money, Tony.
It might be. I don't know. I don't sell things. You know what I mean?
Tony. Okay. Game is boring. And so they call out the big... this is the one where it's the guy in the armor, and they call him out. And then the big guy hammers Aurora and then cuts her fuel line, and they try to blow her up.
Oh, that's right.
But Marcus sees the gas, and he pulls her off the bike, and he crashes, and then Marcus gets hurt. And then, so this is the catalyst for their okay, this is too dangerous. This is no good.
Which is really funny to me.
Yeah.
Because other people on their team are getting hurt and killed.
Yep.
They don't care.
Nope.
But the second that LL Cool J accidentally puts himself in harm's way, they decide, you know what? It's too much. It's too close to home. We got to get out of here.
We got to leave.
It's ridiculous.
Me and Jonathan, which I don't think they've done anything to Jonathan, right?
No, well, they can't because he's the star. He's the guy. They need him.
And LL Cool J's the captain.
Says that line. He says something to Chris on the lines of, they need us, so they're not going to do anything to us. So just sit back and enjoy the money. He basically says that. And then the next game, he puts himself in harm's way to save the girl and then is upset that they targeted him.
Yeah. And he's like, I got a wife and kid. That's why
which you always had, by the way, LL Cool J. They didn't just pop out now, so stop being an idiot.
So at the hospital, he's like, "I'm okay. I feel fine." And he's like, somebody says, "You said this." Oh no! So then Chris Klein's character Jonathan goes to complain to the boss, and he's all like, "Bro, you said this would stop," and he's all like, "And I made you rich,"
which is not true. As far as I can tell, it's inaccurate.
You didn't give me a car. We don't ever see him with any money or fancier
Nope.
clothes or cool shoes.
In fact, his teammates in this scene, we'll talk about it right now, pool together their own money to help Chris and LL Cool J escape because they couldn't get into LL Cool J's apartment to get his bag of money, which is weird to begin with.
People watching.
But what about,
watching
does
it.
Chris Klein have a bag of money?
I don't know.
As far as I can tell, Chris Klein has yet to be paid for this sport, and I'm very confused by it.
So this weird panel truck shows up. In they come with the flowers. It's Dan and Aurora wearing like secret disguises. She's wearing a thing where you can only see her beautiful eyes, and whenever she walks by somebody that she knows, she looks at them as intently and largely as possible.
Those are familiar. I recognize those eyes.
I know those eyes. So they sneak in this whole big thing, and you're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the old trickaroo where we come in with the cart, then we leave with the cart, laundry cart.
But now
there's all the people
on the cart.
Now, so why did they go with the laundry cart?
Bigger? I don't know. Did they say? Was there a line?
No, there was no line.
Okay.
But if you were paying attention, you'd see why they brought the cart in.
I'm not paying attention.
So they could sneak in some boots for LL Cool J.
No. The guy needs boots. What do you mean? I mean, right now he's wearing tennis shoes, Dan. He can't escape in those.
Yep, they got to give him boots so that they can just climb out the window and easily escape. They flee on motorcycle. Then they're on a dirt road, and then they don't know how to read odometers.
Well, no, it's a joke. It's a really funny joke, Dan.
Oh, was it a joke? I thought they couldn't read it.
No, it's a really good joke. Let me explain it to you because you obviously don't understand this top-tier joke. Chris Klein is worried that they're driving too fast because he's an adrenaline junkie, but he doesn't want to drive too fast on a motorcycle.
Yes.
So he says, "Hey, LL Cool J, how fast are you going? It looks like you're going 120 miles per hour." And LL Cool J's like, "No, bro, that's in clicks. We're in a different country. Don't worry about it. I'm not going that fast." And then Chris Klein looks at it and says, "Nope, that's miles per hour. We're going 120. It's a great joke. It's a really good joke, Dan. You didn't get it?
Well, and then his character's like, "That's too fast. It's too dangerous."
He becomes a huge whiner. Yeah. Yep. Just like 100%. Dan, why is this scene shot in night vision?
That was my joke I was going to make. I was like, well, I don't understand. Why would you? This is like a whole 10, 12-minute segment of the movie at least.
It's a huge chunk of this movie that is just shot in green night vision.
I don't know.
For no reason. No one is wearing night vision.
Nope.
Other than the camera.
Yeah.
I thought maybe in your research you turned something up on what the point of this is. No. Okay.
They wanted to shoot it all for $1. I don't know.
Maybe they ran out of money. I don't know.
They were like, "We're out of money. Let's just shoot this scene on the iPhone." Okay.
And it's a big scene. It's a lot of the movie. It's very weird. I love it, by the way.
So they're chased by jeeps that falls down a thing. Then they're chased by they're chased by an airplane.
Yeah.
So they're big airplane. How much do you think? I don't even know how much an airplane that big costs. It's got to be
a lot.
It's got to be millions of dollars, right?
I would assume, yeah.
So they literally land an airplane and chase them around the desert with this airplane, and then eventually are able to relaunch that airplane out in this thing somehow.
It's a good airplane.
And then, God, this is so bad. So our guys are trying to escape across the border, and your classic, "If we get across the border, nothing can stop us.
We're fine." Yeah, which you think these people are worried about jurisdiction? Like, what's going on here?
Do you think they can't just call somebody in the gangsters?
I know that they can't because they say at the end of this scene, don't worry about the Border Patrol, tip them more so they don't say anything or something like that. So they already have Border Patrol in their pocket. So it wouldn't have mattered even if they made it to the border, as far as I can tell.
So why did they kill? So they're trying to get across this bridge. They put up the bridge and then they shoot the motorcycle first and they crash, but it didn't actually shoot the motorcycle. So Cool J could get back on the motorcycle and he's going to go for it. And Chris Klein's like, just leave me behind, even though he's completely uninjured.
Yeah, he's totally fine.
And he makes the jump and then they shoot LL Cool J and then they kill him.
I guess. I assumed he was going to come back.
Oh,
because
really?
This was a pretty unceremonious death to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's far away, they shoot another rocket thing, and then it just the bike falls over. The Border Patrol doesn't even react. There was an explosion 20 feet from the border.
Sure.
And they just kind of look at it and like, well, what are you going to do? Just a Tuesday night.
Because they're on the phone with them.
I guess, but they're not, because we do cut back to them, Dan, and they're not on the phone. Okay. But I thought for sure he wasn't really dead and he was going to come back and make an impact at the end of the movie. And I was sorely mistaken.
No, I knew he was dead. I'm not.
Was it because of Chris Klein's really good acting in the scene that, this death is real?
I think LL Cool J was just sick of this movie, and he's just like, man, I got to peace out.
One day he just walked off set and never came back.
Okay, so Petrovich, they take him back there. Petrovich, he's got like a couple little tiny cuts on him. Petrovich,
from gravel, probably.
Okay, I give you all the money in the world, which is $100,000 US.
Right. 100,000 USD. Oh boy, what a treat.
Wait, does he say to go fuck yourself?
Yeah, okay. This is, so we got to talk about this.
This is on the plane. We're on the plane. Yeah. And he's like, blah, 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 I'll give you 100,000. Then they start opening the big door of the plane while it's flying.
Yeah, to drop him out, right?
Yeah, throw him out.
He's like mad at him now.
Yeah.
So this conversation, is this, oh no, it comes later. You're right.
Yeah.
We'll save it.
They're going to throw him out the back and then they don't?
Yeah. Well, I think someone pulls him off of him.
Yeah.
Again, that's like this guy's move is just to like get really angry.
But doesn't really mean it.
And it doesn't really do anything. I think he's all bark, no bite. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know. Because he never does any of the killing.
Oh, no. Naveen goes over there and says to him, have you thought about the girl? We can get the girl. We know you love the girl. That's
right.
what happens. That's the turn. Sorry about that.
Real quickly, we got to talk about the chase scene again for just 1 second. They drive through a barbed wire fence.
Do they? Okay.
Do you remember this? They drive through a barbed wire fence. I only remember this because I had subtitles on. They drive through a barbed wire fence, and there's a sound effect.
The subtitles say, sound of driving through barbed wire fence?
No, the exact quote is, it's the parentheses because it's a sound effect, and it says, wire twang. That's the name of the sound. That's exactly the sound it makes. It's boing as they drive through a fence. It is wild. There's a couple of really weird sound effects in this movie. There's like
that's not a weird sound effect. That's the noise it would make. Man,
I need you to go back and watch it. Maybe I'll cut it into this episode right now.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. It's like boing. It's not what would it sound like. It's not even close. It's like someone has just one of those old keyboards that has sound effects on it. It was nuts. It was wild. I'm sorry. I just wrote it down, the wire twang in quotes, and I just wanted to bring it up.
So Jonathan, I guess it's the next day, he's like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make more demands. I want ownership.
Well, okay, this is the conversation I want to talk about because this is what he says.
Yeah.
Chris goes, you can keep your $100K.
Oh, okay.
I want ownership right. And I was like, so he's not keeping the 100K. That's a weird way to preface that. Normally it would be like, keep the 100K. I just want to make sure my wife is safe or my girlfriend is safe. That sentence makes sense. But saying keep your 100K and give me 8 million, that doesn't make any sense. But he wants ownership rights. He wants
He wants them to get rid of Aurora, but not kill her.
But not kill her. And he's wanted something else too, like venue, something about the venue. I don't know.
Oh yeah, something stupid.
Yeah, something very stupid. I just thought it was really funny because he's like, keep your 100K, but give me all this other money that I want instead.
So his big plan is he's going to trade Aurora to the Horde, who they play tonight.
Thank God. We're almost through it.
The team is pissed. This is the final. Aurora sees Aurora's in the locker room on the other side. She sees the special sharp weapon that they're going to use against him.
Yeah. Does it go on a helmet?
No, it's a scoop that you pick up the ball with. But the front of it's sharp.
We haven't seen anyone use a scoop in the movie.
Yeah, sure.
Have we?
No, of course not.
Okay. Of course not. Why would you?
I'm going to tell you something about the original Rollerball and why it was so good.
Please. Okay.
They wore leather gloves. And then on the leather gloves right up here, there was metal spikes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And
that's very dangerous.
And back then, we didn't, like nobody had knowledge or access about weapons like that, right?
Sure.
When we were kids and we heard about like shuriken, Japanese throwing stars, we were just like, oh my God, that's the most incredible thing that ever existed.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we have access to all sorts of stuff. Kids know about all sorts of crazy shit because they probably have all that shit in Fortnite, and kids probably know every gun that's ever created and every mine and bomb. They get that. But back then, you put some spiky things on a glove. You talk about brass knuckles. We're like, brass knuckles. Oh my God, what does that mean?
What an innocent time.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah. And you have the poster. The poster, I think, is Jonathan with his fist up.
It is. I didn't understand what it was, but yeah, that is what it is.
And they're punching people with that. You're like, oh yeah, that means something. This scoop that has a sharp blade on. You're like, this is not.
It's just a lacrosse stick or a field hockey stick. But we haven't seen. My problem is we haven't seen anyone else use it.
Yeah.
So how is it even within the rules for them to use this at all?
Well, we also set up now your favorite guy in the movie, the broadcaster, is like, the rule change. There's no rules, and no fouls, and no penalties.
But what rules have we seen rules?
In the original Rollerball, they penalized people. They put one person got put in the box in the first game.
In the first match, a woman got put in the box for fighting because a guy sexually harassed her. That was a weird comment that we never talked about. He grabs her butt on the rink, which has got to be against the rules. She turns around and starts beating him, and then they penalize her. Very weird moment.
That's how it always works. You get fouled, and then they call the foul on you.
Well, sure. Usually it's not sexual harassment, but yeah.
So, okay, there we are. Boom, boom, boom. No fouls, no penalties. And then they're like, let's play the game. And then we kind of find out that all the miners are in the stands. And so
in the audience.
Okay, we're going to mobilize them at some point. They tie up Aurora up in the thing. She never gets
super
released.
Weird.
Right? She never gets released. She never plays any part in the finale. The number 3 star is
she goes and gets him.
Oh, does she?
Right? Because isn't she?
Oh,
she's the one that goes and gets him, and then she walks him out as they're chanting his name at the very end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't. No, she doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. And then Jonathan figures out that if he just watches where the cameras are, he knows where the attack is coming from.
Yeah.
And then the attack comes, and
they beat the shit out of
him. Then there's just all this fighting. Just boom, boom, boom. And it's the worst fighting in any movie we've ever seen.
It's bad fighting. It's not cool fighting.
Nothing
because
cool.
It's just kind of happening. What's not interesting. What's stupid is at one point he gets hit from behind.
Stupid. Yes.
He gets hit from behind, and that's when they realize he's finally wearing his spine
Armor,
protection or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the teammates goes, "Holy shit, he's wearing the spine protection." But it doesn't. That's it. And then it never comes back. It doesn't do anything else.
Yep.
It was just that one time. Why?
He knew.
What is going on?
He knew shit was going to go down.
He knew shit was going to go down. And then at one point, Naveen says, maybe we should stop this. It's getting out of hand. Is it getting out of hand? This is exactly what they wanted.
And then
wasn't this the plan?
Then at a certain point they yell, "Cut the feed," and they turn off the feed.
Yeah, but
what?
They don't stop anything.
No, they don't stop anything. But why would you? Of all the things to do, why would you cut the feed?
I don't know, because this was the plan. This is what we wanted.
We want to kill Jonathan.
It's actually going perfectly to plan. So I don't understand I don't understand why people are like, we got to stop this. This is not. I don't know. This is so weird.
They mobilize the miners. Denny gets shot. Then they begin to chant. Jonathan.
Yeah. Why did they shoot him?
Because he was rousing up the miners, because he used to be a miner.
Right, like he got in on the glass and was like, "They're killing him. We got to stop them." And then they just shoot him.
Yeah. Because
how is that not going to incite the miners more? That's the worst thing you could possibly do in that situation.
Yeah, but that's what happens in all like prison movies. You know, the guards are too cruel, and then they realize at a certain point that they've been too cruel in front of people long enough, and then the one person like looks at them, and then the Indian throws the sink through the thing, and everyone can escape.
Sure, yeah, that was very specific. What movie is that?
Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay, there you go. It's like, this is definitely something that really happened, because you just name things pretty accurately.
It's a little cuckoo's nest there, Tony.
Little cuckoo's nest. Now, here's my big overarching problem with the movie. Everyone is there voluntarily.
No, they can't get away.
From who? What do you mean they can't get away? Other than the one escape attempt by LL Cool J and our main guy, there's no imprisonment. They're living very lavish lifestyles.
Wow.
We don't delve into the fact that they are somehow being forced to be there.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's kind of the crux of the finale, when people are rising up against them. We need it. We need it for this movie to make sense, and we gloss over it.
The problem is we shouldn't have had that whole scene where they tried to escape. We should have. You need to entrap your people so that they have to stay within the confines until they're pushed too far.
Yes.
If your people can just like literally go and get on a motorcycle, well, at a certain point, they're going to sneak out and get on a motorcycle and get away. The situation of a battered wife or something like that it's 99% psychological. It's 1% I'm in control of the money, but the 99% is the belittling, the control, all the controlling behaviors that make it so that those people don't escape.
We never feel that. We never feel like they're trapped.
Never.
I need to feel like Chris Klein got himself in over his head and he's trapped and he's trying to figure out what to do.
And that the bad guys really have all the control.
Yeah, because they don't seem to. I mean, I know Jean. What's his name? Jean
Reno.
Jean Reno. He gives that really wonderful speech about how he owns the people that own things or something.
I own the men that own the mines.
Right. Like that, yeah. Like I don't have to own the mine because I own the men that own the mines. That's great. I don't know what that means really. And there's no demonstration of it in the movie.
Yeah.
He needs to do some shit in this movie for me to feel it.
In real movies, what you do is you have those inflection points, and it's generally a fair, not inflection point, but you have those things where it's like you hand him a picture of his sister. You're like, there's a picture of sister. Yeah. There's her. Oh, I was listening to this podcast this morning about the FBI, and it's fucking crazy. In 1971, they discovered these people stole a bunch of documents from the FBI, and they found out just how many people the FBI were surveilling, right? So they started giving this to this reporter, and then she started reporting on it, and it fucking blew up everything. Blew up J. Edgar
Of
Hoover.
course.
It was
Yeah.
insane. But at a certain point, she like picked up her phone to make a call, and there was a guy on the other end of her phone. This is in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Where your phone, you just picked up
You
your
don't
phone.
know what. Yeah.
And he's like, who are you trying to call? Why are you trying to call them?
What are you talking? How are you on my phone right now?
She's just like, that's intimidation where you're like, I don't have
Yeah.
control of my life. And that was the other thing. This other guy came up to her and said, you've been getting this stuff in the mail. You've also been getting mail from your mom who lives in ... at ... he's like,
Yeah.
he didn't say, we're going to go kill your mom. What he said
But
was,
the implication.
I know exactly where your mom lives.
Yeah.
We know exactly where your mom lives, period.
So think about that.
So
Just
think
think
about
about that before you do anything.
Think about how you want to, and that's what you have to. This guy has to have that power. He just has some guys in a car that are going to shoot you with missiles,
with some sort of weird missile. Yeah. Okay.
You can't. If you kill me, I'm gone. That's not.
What? Here's the question,
me.
Dan. Why didn't LL Cool J zig and zag on the motorcycle? Why is he driving in a straight line after he just got shot with a rocket?
More
You think
importantly,
they're done shooting?
They just got shot with a rocket. Why isn't there any effect from being shot by a rocket?
What?
Jonathan, you go on without me, but there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with the motorcycle. Maybe they can't make the jump with him on there. I don't know.
Well, that's what they said. They're not going to make it with two people.
Okay,
but
said that. Sorry.
I don't know.
Still,
it's V dumb. V dumb.
So he jumps over the glass. He kills Petrovich. Then he goes down, and Naveen's like, "Oh, now I'm in charge." And then he kills Naveen, and you're like,
I didn't understand that part of it.
You want me to explain it to you? I can explain it to you.
Yeah, please explain it to me.
What's supposed to happen is Naveen's like, okay, bro, how about I make you an owner? And he's like, okay. And then he becomes an owner, and they live happily ever after. That was one of they shot that. And then they're like, no, it's got to be more dystopian. Jonathan has to lead the rebellion of the miners against the plutocrats. You're like, really?
That's too bad, because I actually like that ending better, where he's like, or we can keep going and you can just have even more money. And he's like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. I'm morally gray. Let's do that.
I mean, if you'd have set up a real character, he could have had to deal with that, and he might make that choice. And that's a choice that a lot of people make every day.
Amen to that. Oh, this movie, man.
And now he's God. That's what I wrote. He's now God because he started the revolution.
Now, he starts the revolution, and then the movie just ends, right?
No, they play a Rob Zombie song.
Okay, sure.
That I'm sure if you read the lyrics of that, you'd know exactly what was happening.
Exactly what happens in the movie from here on out.
Pretty much.
Because he can't go back home, right? He's wanted for murder, possibly.
It's almost like a thing that someone could have said at some point.
I don't. And what are the miners gonna do? Like they're gonna overthrow these rich people, but someone else to do how are they gonna make money? I don't know.
There's a movie called Lawrence of Arabia. I know you've never seen it because it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
It's from the 1300s. I can't.
And he leads the tribal people across the desert, and then they take over Aqaba, and then like the next scene is the nightmare of them being in control of the power.
Oh, interesting.
And
that's really interesting.
They show you what a fucking nightmare that is, because they're trying to get the phones running, and they're trying to figure out money, and they're trying to put a provisional government in charge, and they're all feuding. And it's like, you gotta sort of, you have to sort of, what does this mean that he's in charge of the revolution? What? Right. This guy?
I have no idea. I got nothing. Yeah. I don't think it's going to go very well. Let me just say that.
No, lots of people are going to die. That's why it's better to have him sell out. And you're like, everybody sells out in the end, or they die.
Amen to that.
But at the
end, sell out right now.
The end of the real Rollerball, he lives, and he is more powerful, and you're like, the corporations are going to have to figure something the fuck out.
Yeah, which it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it.
Yeah,
I'd like to watch
you
it.
should watch it. It's interesting.
Last thing I want to say.
Rollerball.
The end of this movie.
Yeah.
He asks Rebecca Romaine what she's going to do or something. What are you going to do now? And she gets to say the line, I thought I might take you home to my bed. A great callback to him wanting to have sex in a bed instead of whatever they're having sex on. A sauna? I don't remember exactly what they're doing. They're at the gym. I don't know. And then we get a wonderful freeze frame on Chris Klein's smile. And I was just thinking to myself, we don't do the freeze frame anymore. And I kind of miss it, you know? You know, the end of, what's that school movie where he's like, freeze frame on the fist bump?
Judd Nelson.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Breakfast Club.
Great stuff. I just miss it.
Don't you forget about me. Don't.
Yeah. Breakfast Club. Jeez. I'm getting so old I can't remember things. Does it get worse? I have a problem pulling things. I can think around them, but I have a hard time pulling things.
Yep, that's what you have to do. It's like 17 Shades of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
You're like, the guy that was in the movie that starred the thing that was about the dog who had 3 heads. And then you're like, what's his name? And then 3 hours later, you just be like, Kevin Kline. You're like, it's Kevin Kline. God, there it is.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm in for a rough road.
Shannon was like, we got that fly in here now. And I'm like, fly? What are you talking about, fly? And she's like, I told you about the fly like an hour ago. And what she said was, there was a fly on the rice. There's a fly in here while she was closing up the rice. And I was like, oh my God, there's a fly walking on the rice. Right. So in my mind, I was just thinking about this one fly walking on there. The truth of the matter, she's just saying there's a fly flying around in here.
There's a fly in the house.
She's protecting the rice. And so my mind, I just conjured this image of this fly like walking on rice.
You did your own thing in here. It was filling in some blanks.
I thought the problem was that a fly had touched rice. The true problem is there's a fly flying around in here, and it's going to be an asshole.
Yeah, they do that. They do that from time to time.
This movie sucked.
This movie's bad, man. I had a good time.
I watched the beginning, and I'm like, I remember all this. I've seen this movie. And then at a certain point, I'm like, I turned it off because I did.
I must have, because this is not familiar at all.
I did not see the night vision chase or the ending or any of that stuff. And I was like,
so bizarre.
The night vision chase is just like, that is a decision that someone makes, and someone really needed to tell them that that's a terrible idea.
It's great. It's a great movie. Don't watch it. This is one of those ones that I don't recommend you watch.
No, this one's
I don't.
Not a lot here to unpack or to deal with. Now we talk about something we like this week. We've been watching a lot of Olympics. Breakdancing is on today. It's pretty great.
Did it start yesterday, or does it start today?
The girls was yesterday, and the girls was fun. The guys are today, and it's probably just about ending. But the sad thing is there was this one Australian girl who was not great, and now everybody's like dragging her on the internet, like, look at this, kids, it's the greatest thing ever. Says the incel sitting in their,
Yeah.
And you're just like,
stupid pieces of shit. She's in the Olympics. You fucking idiots.
She's, if the best, and that's the whole thing. In the olden days, right? You had the Jamaican bobsled team, and we were all like, go Jamaican bobsled team. They were terrible. And I believe, as I remember it, they didn't stand a chance in hell of getting a medal. But you're like, well, good for them putting it together and getting there and living their dream. And you're like, she's living her dream. But everyone's like, she's not good enough.
You're so bad at everything. Yeah, we're the worst. The society is awful. We are terrible.
You need to spend your time tearing down somebody. It's like she was not great.
They do, because that's how the only way they feel better about themselves, because their life is awful.
I pretty much think that's the case. So, but lots of it. We were watching the rhythmic gymnastics, which was great. And
a lot of fun stuff.
You get sucked in. You're like, it's 5,000 meter men's, and you 15 minutes later, you're like, that was the most exciting race I've ever seen in my life. That's what the Olympics does to you. And then you're like,
Yeah.
when it's over, you're like, I will never watch any of these sports again for 4 years.
But the next time you do, they're going to be here.
L.A. Tom Cruise going to be in charge.
Oh, yeah?
That's Shannon thinks that the reason why Tom Cruise is at every Olympic thing is that he's going to be like the guy that announces,
Well, Tom's going to be involved. Snoop will be involved for sure, Flavor Flav will be involved in some capacity.
Flavor Flav sponsored the girls' water polo team.
Yeah, I love that. It's awesome.
That's the greatest thing ever.
Also, watched water polo for the first time maybe in my life, and I don't understand it. I don't understand the rules at all. They're just whipping balls at each other. It seems crazy.
Water polo. I love water. I don't think we saw any water polo. I love it. I usually watch it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's great. We watched the women's. I like all the women's sports better than the men's sports typically.
Sure. Did we? I think women's just won soccer. Yeah. I think they just won.
They were up 1-0 when
I think that's how it ended. I think
started, yeah.
I got an update on my phone. I think
it was they were in stoppage time 10 minutes. They were at 8.5 minutes. So all they had to do was hold on for another 90 seconds, and then they.
Well, I think they did. I think they got that big gold.
Well, good. What do you got for us, Tony? It's going to be something stupid.
It is going to be something stupid. Dan. I also watching the Olympics, also having a great time.
Good.
But you may or may not remember this, but a little indie film called Rebel Moon dropped the director's cut. So I spent 7 hours this week watching the director's cuts of those movies.
Oh, you watched both of them?
I sure did, Dan.
I was going to do a whole joke where I was going to say that we're going to watch those for the move thing next time. So
it's not worth it.
No, it was going to be a joke.
I'm just going to tell you that right now.
It's going to be a joke. And then I was going to be like, no, I'm not watching those movies.
Well, I did it.
You took one for the team. And
here's what I'm going to say.
Okay, give us the review, Tony.
Does it make it a cooler movie? Yes.
Okay.
Does it make it a better movie? Not even a little bit. All of the problems are still there, Dan.
Sure, of course.
All of the script is awful. The story's stupid. Some of the acting is terrible. You can't fix that with just adding more. Now there's just more shitty dialogue and more backstory I don't give a shit about. But I will say, adding back the R rating, the fight scenes are way cooler.
Oh, okay, good.
Like, there's some head explosions. There's some a guy gets a thing right through the thing. Like, there's some cool shit that happens that was sorely lacking in the first one, but it doesn't fix anything.
Sure,
it just makes it more fun to watch a piece of shit movie. That's all. Oh, also, there's boobs now, so.
Like, is there sex or is it just some boobs?
There is some sex. I think there's 2 sexes. Maybe 3. I think there's 2. Cora definitely has sex in the beginning of the movie when they're having the harvest.
Really? Okay.
And it's gratuitous, just all her. It's almost uncomfortable, but
who's she having sex with?
Her hunter boyfriend,
the farmer
guy.
Dude. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the farmer that ends up dying. Yeah.
Okay.
And then she has sex with Gunner later when they're in the second one, when they're having that fire pit meeting.
Sure.
Awful. I mean, they're not good. The problem is they're not good sex scenes, right? I don't know. I would remove those again. Those are unnecessary. And they just distract and make it weird. But the violence is great.
Why would these movies have sex scenes? Why did it?
I have absolutely no idea. It's super weird. So the harvest becomes Sindri, the leader of the farming people in the beginning. He gives a really nice speech in the first one about how they celebrate the harvest. We did a great job. In this one, they add back all this stuff where basically he just wants everyone to have sex. He's screaming, "Fuck for the harvest! Fuck for the grain!" And I was like, what is happening? Why is he screaming, "Go have sex"? It's super weird. And then they do it. Go have sex.
It's a completely different movie.
I mean, some parts are, but then some parts are exactly the same.
No,
and it doesn't make more sense.
Like what? He must be angry. There's something going on there.
Something going on.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Barbarella. That movie's freaking
Sure.
great, and it's a very
Heck yeah.
sexy movie, and
Very sexy movie.
very sexy movie, and you're like, every different scene, she take different sex costumes, and you're like,
Great.
that's what that movie is. It's based on based on a comic book that was like that. That's the movie you make. But Rebel Moon, like,
there's no reason to have. Yep, it's absolutely bonkers. It doesn't make sense as a community. Doesn't make sense in the movie. It's super weird. I don't know. But again, the action scenes are cooler. It's still way too much slow-mo. There's even more now,
Is there more of the robot?
There is more of the robot, and it turns out doesn't help. It's just more of him pontificating.
Yeah.
Like there's no more character development.
Sure.
And there's no added action. It's just him in a wheat field a bunch of times, like, and then I look at the stars and I remember the young girl. And I don't care. I just don't care, man.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there it is. This is the point at which we say, feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment.
There was a time when there were 2 or 3 times you put it at the top of the show, and I bet it helped. I bet we should look at those numbers of the episodes that you did it earlier and see if anybody did it.
No, the ones we do good.
Didn't do it.
Like we got some little bit of traction on John Carter.
Sure.
And we got 4 likes and only 1 dislike, which is pretty good. I thought we were going to go 50-50 on that one.
Sure. I could go dislike it if you want, just to help your ego a little.
So we need a new movie. I get to pick the movie.
Yeah, you get to pick. What do you got? I was
rooting around. I was like, we got Will Smith with iRobot. Still got to do that one.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I saw that movie at one point, so I need a little more time to forget it even more.
Okay, sure. Sure. I really want to get it out of my mind and start fresh.
So, I was thinking, I was like, what's Bradley Cooper's worst movie? There's that Limitless, but it kind of had some positive reviews.
And it spun off a wonderful TV show that got canceled after 1 season, but I just rewatched it recently and I love it.
Is the movie good?
No, I didn't like the movie very much. I like the show. So the movie is like stupid and all about him being like super smart or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the show turns into a cop procedural.
Sure.
So they use the drugs. A new guy gets the drugs, who I love. He's from Greek. Anyhow, he gets the drugs and he's super smart and helps the cops like solve crimes.
Sure.
That's a brilliant way to use that premise.
Yeah.
Anyhow, sorry.
I think I've seen that. So, I kept looking for some of our best people. And then I was like, what about Nicolas Cage?
I mean, there's a plethora of movies to choose from for good old Nick.
And I found one, and it's called The Knowing.
The Knowing! Yeah! I saw this opening night at midnight as well. I remember it vividly.
Is this the one, like, he knows the future or something, and the kids is nuclear war or something's coming? I don't know. You don't have to tell me. I'm trying to think if I saw some of this one or didn't see it. I don't know, but we're going to watch the whole damn thing this time and see what it's all about.
I love it. Okay.
Oh, there it is. He loves it. Tony loves it. Tony loves it, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think... Who's the lady in it? I feel like I like his wife in it too.
Somebody real.
Is it Rose Byrne?
Could be.
We'll find out next week.
We'll find out.
I don't need to know right now. We'll find out next week.
You'll be knowing soon enough, Tony.
Hey-o!
So
all I remember, Dan,
yeah?
is that it has something to do with a time capsule.
Yes.
And I remember that because it was around the time that we planted our own time capsules for school.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we never dug them back up.
Good.
You're supposed to dig them back up, but we didn't do it.
No, you probably didn't seal them well enough that moisture probably destroyed them, so it doesn't really matter.
You don't think I sealed something? I'm a canner.
No, you're not.
Making pickles.
Are you really making pickles?
No. I would. Do you want me to make you some pickles? I'll make you some pickles.
Do
you like spicy pickles or just like dilly?
I've gone through dill pickle cycles in my life and also sweet pickle cycles. I was a big sweet pickle kid.
Okay, interesting. All right,
Used
I'm a dill guy all the way.
Used to have the sweet pickle in a bag in the lunch. Yeah, in a plastic bag.
No, I do not know what you're saying. What do you mean in a bag?
You put it in like a Ziploc bag, and then you put it in your lunch, so you have a pickle.
You're so cute.
And then I definitely went through a phase, where you'd go and they'd have the pickle in the, in the bag in the brine, and you'd buy that for $1.
Yes. Yeah, like State Fair still does like a nice whole pickles. Oh God.
Hate zucchini more than anything in the world.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Isn't that what they make?
Weird.
Pickles? No, cucumbers. I hate
cucumbers.
Cucumbers
Yeah,
and zucchinis. Oh.
Interesting. I love cucumber.
Oh, okay.
Big fan. It's nice, like a nice slice of cucumber in your water.
No,
That's nice.
It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's like one of those things. I always love these. Celery doesn't taste like anything. I'm like, it most definitely tastes like something. And
Do you
it's
not
terrible.
like celery?
Oh, God, no.
Have you done ants on a log?
No, I hate celery. I hate the flavor.
But have you tried it with peanut butter and raisins?
It doesn't matter. It has that flavor. Like if I have potato salad and I bite into a piece of celery in my potato salad, I lose my mind.
I just imagine you flipping a picnic table, getting all mad.
Yeah, I will pick.
I do love a nice potato salad.
I'll pick through my potato salad to make sure there is no celery in there.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll write that down. So if I ever make potato salad for when we go camping, I'll make sure there's no celery in it.
Hate camping.
You can't hate camping. There's so many different ways to camp, Dan. We can find a way that you like.
Glamping, maybe, but camping.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Dan, look at me. Do I look like a guy that's going to go camping and it's going to be slumming it?
That's true.
No. I'm going to glamp at the least.
You are an ants on the log person.
I love ants on log. It's just a childhood thing.
How the ants doing over in your place, Tony?
They're terrible. They're fucking everywhere. We are living in a nightmare hellscape, a la. I don't even know where's a lot of bugs. I don't know.
Rollerball. Okay. Well, then we better end this one, or we could go on forever.
Yeah, we'll pack it up. What are we watching next week?
The Knowing.
The Knowing. Thank you, Nicolas Cage. I remember.
Nicolas Cage. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, watch it!